former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama's closest advisor. We sat down to talk about her remarkable story, going from a single mom in Chicago to the White House. It's all featured in her brand new book, Finding My Voice, My Journey to the West Wing and the Path Forward. From a little girl growing up in Iran to a single mom in Chicago, all the way to the White House, Valerie Jarrett is best known for being President Obama's longest-serving advisor. But before she was a political powerhouse, she was a young woman just trying to find her voice. How, as a young woman, were you able to find your voice?
Working for city government as a lawyer, I learned to be an advocate for the people of Chicago. And I think in so advocating for others, I learned to trust my own voice.
It was while advocating for others, working in the Chicago mayor's office, that Jarrett says she made her best hire ever. Michelle Obama.
Michelle Robinson.
What was it about her?
Elegant. You know what? I think first I was struck by just her calm confidence.
She would soon meet Michelle Robinson's fiancé as well, a young Barack Obama, and a lifelong friendship began, with Jarrett acting as big sister, doling out advice, some better than others. You did give him some advice, U.S. Senate.
Yeah, so I wasn't right on that one. Yeah, I blew that one completely.
That Senate run, of course, led him to the White House, Jarrett joining the team. You had the best relationship of anybody on staff with the Obamas. Was there resistance to you being that close to him in the White House?
Well, you know what, Robin, maybe early on, but I worked very hard to earn the trust.
You found your voice, and you helped others find their voice, especially women, senior women in the White House. Early on in his administration, they were feeling that they were not being heard. How did you help them find their voice?
I brought it to the president's attention. And I had the advantage of having this long-standing relationship with him. And he invited them all to dinner, and he assured them they were handpicked by him. They provided a diversity and perspective that he really relished in order to make the best decisions possible.
That problem proved easy to solve. Others in the White House were more difficult, especially relationships with Republicans.
For the entire 8 years President Obama was there, it was this short-term political strategy that I considered diabolical and not in the best interest of our country.
You believe that?
I believe it was a very, very political, raw political strategy. And then, to what end?
And what are your thoughts when you look at the political landscape today, 2019?
I think the political landscape today, in some ways, is depressing. I think tone does start at the top. We look to the President of the United States to be the leader, to be a role model, particularly for young people. And I think some of the rhetoric has been profoundly disappointing and troubling to me.
Jarrett also writes about the one time she met Donald Trump. You said in 2011, the first time you met him.
Only time
You met him was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Long before he was running for office, but he was very much a part of the birther controversy. What was that meeting
The driving force behind the birther controversy.
So tell me about that meeting. And I could just tell, just in how you responded with that is something that has stayed with you.
Well, I think it's unconscionable. And I think it, it incited hatred, and I think it put President Obama and his family in harm's way. And for what purpose? So I did try to duck him when I saw him at the Correspondents' Dinner, but he was coming right at me, and it was just a brief exchange. But what I really remember about that night is that, everybody is joked about at the Correspondents' Dinner, and I just wish that President Trump had laughed.
What overall do you think about the field as it is right now with the Democrats running?
I think we have an embarrassment of riches. I'm delighted with the field. I'm really interested in seeing how the field shakes out. And I've offered my advice to anyone who has asked. I think that...
Has anybody asked you?
I've met with several of the candidates who are running, and I've encouraged them all to try to start to spend their time really focusing on what they believe in. What's their vision for our country?
You don't have your phone with you. You don't have any device with you. This is a new world for you.
My goodness, it's lovely.
What's that feel like?
It is liberating. It's liberating.
And what does she want people to take away from her book? Enjoy the journey.
Take some risks, calculated risks, but risks nonetheless, and get outside of your comfort zone. I think there's nothing scarier than the thought of getting outside of what's familiar and straight, but there's nothing more exhilarating than that zigzag.
that zigzag is exhilarating, but she is, it's liberating for her not to be. Can you imagine for 8 years, you're at the side of the President of the United States?
Amazing, and under those pressures, their relationship, which had started so far before, really strengthened.
Yeah, because it could go either way.
Yeah.
And it really strengthened it. It did. And we did hear from Barack Obama. He said to us, Valerie Jarrett's voice has often inspired me, and I know her memoir will inspire others to lift their voices too. And that's really what she wants to do. She's in the private sector now, still working somewhat with Michelle and Barack Obama.
And other candidates.
And other candidates. Wouldn't say which ones.
Yep.
Try to get her on that. Wouldn't say which ones. But they want to hear from her, and she really wants to lend her voice to others and to young people especially.
Yeah. And you can feel that light.
I know, exactly.
And now you can read the book.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right, because it's out this morning, and you can read an excerpt on our website. Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.